All right, here's our last example for our last page for the 1.1 notes. I meant to put all that in one video, but I ended up having to stop, do something with my kids, so sorry about that. All right, so here we have a preference schedule that has already been built for us. So we can see the number of voters. So we know that 37 voters ranked B in first place, E in second place, A in third, C in fourth, and D in fifth. And then 36 voters did this order, 24 voters chose this order, and so on. So to get total number of votes, we would add up all these numbers across the top. Let me just grab a calculator really quick. We have 37, 36, 24, 12, and 5 for a total of 114. And I like to write that out to the side. So I'm going to write that over here. So we had 114 voters. So how many first place votes are needed for a majority? So majority, remember, is more than half. So first we calculate half. If we do 114 divided by 2, that gives us 57. Now remember, that's exactly half. And since we need one more, we're just going to kind of add a 1 to that, bump it up one more vote. So we would need 58 votes for a majority. Now remember, sometimes ties are broken by fewest last place votes. So we're going to calculate last place. So I'm going to go over here, last place votes. So let's look at A. So for this one, we're only looking at fifth place. So we see A, we go up and get the number of votes, that's 12. For B, we go across and the number of votes is 5. For C, if I look across, C got 24. If I look for D, D got 37. And if I look for E, E's here, last place, they got 36. So we can see that the fewest last place votes was definitely B. All right, so we're going to talk really briefly about ties before we end this section. In some cases, ties don't need to be broken. For example, it could be possible for two people to share an award. Tie for Best Actress at the Oscars, Best Vocalist at the Grammys, MVP of a sport, things like that. If ties do need to be broken, things like the election for president or political offices, there need to be rules in place for tiebreakers before the election. So ideally you do a runoff election, but they're very expensive and time consuming. So especially if you're looking at local government, they may not have the money to do that. So you get into some really interesting tiebreakers. They'll even do things like a coin toss. They'll flip a coin, draw a card, and whoever gets the highest card wins the tie. So you'll see some interesting ways to break ties as we move on.